Greetings, television viewers.
AT&T Halftime Report is brought to you by AT&T. It's all within your reach.
24 minutes in the books in Philly. The Indiana Pacers with the #1 seeding in the East, leading the Sixers 52-46. It is time for the AT&T Halftime Report. Ernie Johnson in Atlanta with Kenny the Jet Smith, and tonight we welcome Hubie Brown to the studio because, well, in a little bit, and on Inside the NBA, he'll be handing out the Hubies. It's a huge night for us, Coach, as you know.
Well, it's always nice to be invited, Ernie.
Well, the door is always open.
Yeah. Ernie invites.
Yeah. Hey, let's talk about the first half of this game. A lot on the line for Philadelphia because Indiana's done everything they need to do. In fact, they're sitting down Mark Jackson and Reggie Miller.
It's very tough to take a game serious when you see Mark Jackson and Reggie Miller sitting on the sideline. Obviously, the implications are not the same for Philadelphia they are for Indiana. But Philadelphia better take this game very serious because we talked earlier upstairs before we came down and didn't let you know, Ernie, that this is a big game where they could slip to the 5th position. And I don't think that they're good enough to not have home court advantage in the first round when this playoff starts. I think when the playoff starts, that Philadelphia's a team that really needs first home court advantage.
Especially in a matchup with Charlotte that will have a day in between games so that you can rest that front line. You know, that they'll play 40 minutes. You know, when you're talking Coleman, Mason, and Campbell, they're going to get their 40 minutes in, and then Eddie Jones. But tonight, this is always a tough matchup for Philly. They had difficulty with Indiana in the playoffs last year. Indiana knocked them out. And Indiana has so much talent that even if Jackson and Miller sit down, they're coming with quality people.
And they're at 52-46, and Austin Crozier has 12, and so does Rick Smits, and Jalen Rose has 10. Big game in the East tonight. Who's going to have the final playoff spot? George Karl's Bucks would like it. All they got to do is win the game at Orlando tonight. And boy, did they come out full of fire in this game. Ray Allen with the steal, and he cans the jumper. They were up 24-9 after 1. Orlando comes back. They got a lot of energy. They got a lot of guys on that bench like Pat Garrity coming off with a stick. And then Ben Wallace in the 3rd period. Watch him go to work inside. The Orlando Magic, once down 24-5 in that game, closed the gap. Right now, 7-point game with plenty of time left. Only 4:51 left in the 3rd, as a matter of fact. 58-51 is the Milwaukee lead over Orlando. Craig Sager is in Orlando to cover this one. Let us check in with Sags. What you got?
Well, Arnie, as you mentioned, Orlando definitely dodged the bullet because they were trailing 24-5. Doc Rivers called a couple of timeouts, benches the entire starting 5, and then Pat Garrity and Chucky Atkins helped bring them back. Now, the big play, I think, was Ben Wallace and Bo Outlaw. Those are the 2 leading rebounders for Orlando. They had only 2 rebounds in the first half. Did not play very well at all. As you saw, Ben Wallace scored early in the 3rd quarter. So did Bo Outlaw, trying to get those guys involved. But right now, Milwaukee is playing very well. However, they're not getting a big production out of Ray Allen. He had 6 points in that 24-5 run. He has only 1 field goal since. So Ron Mercer's doing a good job defensively against Ray Allen. That could be the difference. All year long, Orlando has never given up. They have fought back. But again, they have never come from 19 points down. Let's go back down to Ernie, Kenny, and Hubie.
Thank you, Steggs. And the roar goes up as Chucky Atkins knocks down a jumper. You got Chucky Atkins and Darrell Armstrong on the lineup at the same time. And it's shoot low, boys. They're riding Shetland. So that's a little backcourt there. But he'd mentioned Ray Allen, who's had huge games at 29, 26, and 33 as the Bucks have won all 3 meetings so far. How do you see this one progressing at this point?
Well, if you look at the Milwaukee Bucks, obviously they have more talent. They have more scoring opportunities. They have guys who can put the ball in the basket. They have guys in that 9th and 10th man that probably would start for the Orlando Magic. However, they don't have the same energy. They don't have the same spirit, it seems, this year. And I think the Orlando Magic right now are putting that pressure on, and it's going to see guys like Darvin Ham and Irvin Johnson from Milwaukee, those energy guys, if they can match the energy that Orlando has.
Well, this is a test for the big 3. Robinson and Allen and Sam Cassell must step up now. You have the lead. You know, sure, you got out to the early start 20-3, but you know the energy factor that Orlando plays with. And the 10 guys, rotating the 10 people. That's why you're not shocked. Garrity comes in off the bench, gives you a quick 11. And we have no idea. They're liable to bring in a guy off the injured list in the second half here. And the guy's liable to get 14 in the last quarter. So with Orlando this season, come on, they are never out of any game, especially at home.
And the storyline on this one, if the Milwaukee Bucks win the game, they are in the playoffs. If Orlando wins the game, they still have some work to do, but they would be in the driver's seat. We'll keep you up to speed on that game in Orlando as the night goes goes on. When we come back on the AT&T Halftime Report, the first of the Hubies will be handed out. That's for the Coach of the Year. The game you're watching here on TBS, the Philadelphia 76ers at home, trailing by a half dozen.
You guys go ahead.
No, boy, I tell you, winning a Hubie for me, I don't know. I made the All-Star team one year. I think a Hubie would be more important. I've strived to be the best. And if you can get a Hubie, that would validate that.
It is absolutely amazing.
And he just might get it.
This thing has taken on a life of its own over the last few years. It is the talk of the league.
I heard you even going to have like the top analysts and the top sportscaster. You know what happened?
So you'd be a top analyst here. You're going to be a coach pretty soon. Ernie's going to be looking for another guy in your chair. Come on. You realize how many guys have bounced from this chair into the coaching ranks?
It's a real springboard, is it not? Anyway, we want to get into the Hubies. We're going to have a bunch of them on Inside the NBA, but let's get things started, Coach, with, well, your corner of the world, coaches. Let's get this thing going.
Well, Ernie, it's a difficult test to pick out 5 guys. But number 5 for me is Flip Saunders at Minnesota. Did an outstanding job. Started the season a little slow. 4 key guys up front injured. They are the masters of winning close games, and that's always a tribute to the coaching staff. Next, this young guy has done a magnificent job. 52 wins in spite of adversity. No Kidd, no Gugliotta, no Chapman. He's given them defense and discipline. And here the old-timer. They take this guy for granted year after year. Another division championship as he brings in Armand Gilliam and Polynice and the club, the old 3 guys, the standbys are doing it night in and night out. Now, this guy has had a sensational year. February, March, and April, how about 33-3? 3 winning streaks, 19, 16, and 11 games. There is a ton of talent there right now, and he's on his way to a potential NBA championship. But to me, the coach of the year is Doc Rivers. Anytime that you are rotating 10 guys and 5 of them have never been drafted, then you know that the coach is working a major miracle. He's in every game. They're 40-40 going into tonight. And then you have to look at this and say they are $18 million under the cap. He has a team that's run on a shoestring, and we all know that the leader of this is the coach.
Now, what were the chances, Hubie, back in November of you thinking, yeah, when I give out the Hubies, Doc Rivers will probably be the coach of the year?
Well, you know, Ernie, over the summer, everyone said, come on, 27 different transactions, 30-some-odd players. What are they doing down there? Even Doc questioned whether or not he made a mistake. Right. Because he said, hey, I didn't anticipate this. I thought I was going to have, you know, the Big 5 from a year ago that tied Indiana for the best record in the East. So when they went to this type of a team, I know what this is all about because it happened to us in Atlanta many years ago. And what it is a great communication with 10 players and the coaching staff driving them, and the players respecting the energy and the preparation put in by this coaching staff. And you can see it night in and night out. A new guy steps up invariably to win a ball game for them. And it's just nice to see because Doc and his staff knew, and then 10 guys have gotten it together. Beautiful.
Well, I have a discrepancy.
Oh, that's all right.
I don't understand how Paul Silas from the Charlotte Hornets could be left off. And Scott Skiles did a great job. But he has a world of talent up there to me. I think that when Paul Silas came in, he wasn't sure what he had up there. I think he could have slid in. And even some dark horse guys. You think of what a guy like Rudy T done with the Rockets. All of those injuries, and he has those guys playing down at the end. I think even guys like that should get consideration. Not winning the award, but some consideration.
Well, unfortunately, you know, like when you go and you have $1 and you go into the ice cream that has 32 different flavors.
Exactly.
You know, unfortunately, you only can buy so much, you know, for $1. Well, I only have 5 places here.
Okay.
Right? And so I'm trying to be objective about this.
I understand they've stopped the game in Orlando to present Doc the ball and a Hubie. Back to put the wraps on.
I'll wait for my Hubie. I want my Hubie.
In just a second.
World-renowned Philadelphia Art Museum. This is TBS NBA Monday from the city of brotherly love. A cold and windy April night. Well, Time now, especially in light of what happened last week, for the budget rent-a-car TBS NBA $1 million shot. Steve Hutchins on the left, Kevin Johnston on the right, both sharpshooters. But this kid won the chance, lofting a three-quarters court shot. John, just a little bit outside.
Fort Knox, Kevin. If money is in Fort Knox.
Plus, he's not a man of the cloth. Last week in New York.
But he blessed himself more than the man of the cloth did, so I thought maybe his would go in.
Hey, talking about a man who has been blessing his team, Tony Kukoc has been blessing his fellow teammates with some outstanding passing.
Well, the thing is, you know, for a guy his size, Danny, he offered a dribble, he passes well off of the catch, but more importantly, he gives guys passes that they can handle and convert into scores.
Yeah, Tony's been a big addition. The question is, he only played 12 minutes in the first half. How long is Larry going to let him sit over there in this second half?
Let's check in with Todd Harris.
Thanks, Kevin. Well, Larry Brown preaching the basics, basketball 101. He said we've got to get some stops here. We've got to keep Indiana inside the paint, getting easy baskets. He likes the shot selection. He's just not happy what the results are. Back to you.
All right, Todd. Philadelphia shooting 46%. Indiana 54%. Nice defense inside, but whacked right back out to George Lynch, who bangs it in.
It needs some outside shooting out there.
Especially on that one, Allen Iverson, when that shot was blocked, he had to fully extend his elbow, and that was the elbow that he was hurt before the game.
And through the first 24 minutes of this game, some numbers.
Well, right here, the key stat is 46% by the 76ers. They shot 58 when Tony Kukoc came into the game in the second quarter. And just to talk more about Tony and the impact he had on that game.
Well, because you got people layups too, Kevin, with those passes he threw.
Mullen picked up the foul. At the other end is second. Out of bounds it goes with 13 seconds to shoot. Indiana shot no free throws in the second quarter. Take a look at Larry Bird sitting tonight a lot. Normally he walks and stands because his back is in so much pain. That was ricocheted out of bounds. And we're down to 12 seconds to fire. But Dick Carter is one assistant on the left and Rick Carlisle on the right. By the way, that job, guys, is going to open after the season. Either of you interested in that head coaching job?
No, but Rick Carlisle went there with the understanding that he might get that job. I hope he gets it. He's a great coach, and I think he'll be in the same category as the Doc Rivers and Scott Skiles.
That's heady company after watching the Hubies down in Atlanta. Chris Mullen. Crozier tried to get it in. Fighting off one defender after another. Allen Iverson digs it out. Here comes Philadelphia. Squeezing one off the hill. What a play.
Well, it was a great pass, and he rewarded the big man for running. And that's always a good sign because then he'll rebound more and defend more.
Rose and a foul with a shove, and it's on Indiana.
Well, and I think that was a great acting job on Allen's part. You know, I'm glad to see him try to do something like that, you know, because usually he just goes toe-to-toe with people.
We just saw a picture of Larry Bird following up what we were talking about. He will leave the post. He said this will be his last year as the head coach. His decision. He wants to leave after this season as the head coach.
I don't like that decision. I hate to see him leave coaching because I think he's doing a great job, and particularly when you see him bring the confidence out of Crozier and out of Rose.
I think you said it last week, John. Truly one of the special people in basketball.
Really special people in basketball.
Hill, the reverse. Smith fighting inside, lassoing his 7th rebound.
Smith is doing a good job. He's shooting the ball from the outside. He's scoring inside. He looks like he's playing with a lot of energy.
And he gets the feed from on the wing, and Jalen Rose right on the money with the pass.
On his size, coming down the lane, Jalen Rose being as big as he is, the passing lane is above everybody when the two of them are trying to pass to each other. And Smith made a great cut down the lane that time.
Rose has 7 assists. Iverson looking for an assist to Lynch, and he gets it right there.
Well, that's 2 in a row for Lynch from the outside. They need that outside shooting to open up some penetration for Allen.
Well, the guys after Danny look to shoot, too. They look so reluctant. These guys aren't that bad as shooters, but they're so reluctant being specialists and passing to Allen that they've got to look for the shot.
Here comes Iverson, up court to Snow. Cross court to Lynch, wide open. George Lynch has 16 points.
Well, they're getting him off a transition. Larry said he liked the shot selection. Well, you have to like it when you're getting a point-blank layup out there. But that comes from playing good pressure defense.
We're tied for the first time since 4-4. Philadelphia's had one lead of a point early in the game. Smith, no looks, and Dale Davis can't can it. It's Lynch in Philadelphia looking for a lead on a 3-on-1. Snow to Ratliff. Philadelphia has the lead.
Across America, AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And buy the new film U-571. Starts April 21st at theaters everywhere.
Philadelphia leads Indiana. Philadelphia leads Indiana 56-54, and since late in the second quarter, the 76ers, Danny, on a 14-2 run.
Well, their defense has really picked up. They got their defensive lineup out there with Eric Snow and Tyrone Hill and Lynch and Ratliff and Iverson, and they're doing a much better job defensively, and they're getting some easy baskets in transition.
Smith's looking for Rose, and that worked out well.
Well, they utilized his size so well. That was just the opposite of what happened before. Smith got it, hit a big Rose cutting down against a small guard.
Tied again at 56. Iverson pulling up his britches and taking it down the lane, getting the loose balls. Crozier is there, firing to Ratliff, swings it outside to Lynch with a Tyrone Hill screen. Ratliff with the offensive rebound.
Well, I think that was a pass. Allen was trying to throw Lynch an alley-oop, but got into traffic and had to force up a pass.
Mullen is on Snow. Screen by Hill. Look at Snow carrying his way down the lane. Dale Davis is there. We're tied at 56.
Good defense by Indiana right there, but you can see the difference. They can't really get anything going in transition. Not quite as swift a feet.
Smith did not catch up with the pass.
Well, and Danny talked about how swift they were. I think that's one of the problems with them getting back in transition defense. They've got this big lineup in, but this lineup is slow when Philadelphia does get a rebound on stolen ball, so Indiana can't get back to stop them.
Iverson and Rose jousting. And a foul out on the perimeter. Nope, illegal defense is the call. That's the first on the Indiana Pacers.
It's a good job by Philadelphia in the last possession to front that post. Larry Brown kept talking about it in practice today and talking about it in the timeouts. And they got the turnovers, and they're having a tough time getting the ball to the player they want on those mismatches.
Here we are tied at 56. Philadelphia needs to win tonight and tomorrow for home court in the first round as Eric Snow feeds Ratliff. And the rebound by Chris Mullen.
Well, they're making good passes, but they don't have people that can hit those shots that they're throwing the ball to. If they don't get it off of their defense and come down in transition, they're not making baskets in the half-court sets.
Here's Crozier, 10 to shoot, down the lane to the hole, and a foul on George Lynch of Philadelphia. Big story developing in Orlando. Let's send it to Atlanta and Ernie Johnson.
All right, thank you very much, Kevin. We've been telling you about that Bucks Magic matchup all night long. If the Bucks win the game, they're in the playoffs. If Orlando wins the game, they still have a magic number of 1 to get into the field of 8 in the Eastern Conference. But there's another story developing there, and it involves one of Milwaukee's big three. Ray Allen has had 3 huge games and 3 Milwaukee wins against Orlando, but late in the third quarter, you saw it there moments ago, Ron Mercer rolling into the leg of Ray Allen. Allen went down and was taken from the floor. He is not expected to return to the game. It's a 4-point game after 3 periods, 68-64. Let's go down to Craig Sager. What's up with Ray Allen, Craig?
Well, Ernie, when the injury first occurred, he went to the bench. Trainer Mark Feil came over and looked at it. He thought at that point it was a hyperextended knee. Ray Allen said he thought he could go back in the game. He then walked in the back hallway and collapsed. A lot of pain. He was in tears. He has now been taken into the locker room. They updated the injury. Right now they say it's at least a knee sprain, so it does not look good. Ray Allen definitely will not be back tonight. We don't know how severe the injury is, but it looks a lot worse than it was earlier. Ernie?
All right, thank you very much, Craig. So that's the latest on Ray Allen. And, that game at one point was 24-5, a 19-point Milwaukee lead. It's now a 4-point Milwaukee lead as they play early in the fourth quarter down there in Orlando. We'll keep you up to speed on that game. Right now, let's go back to Philadelphia and Kevin Harlan.
Thank you, Jay. Here, Indiana leads by 1. There's a foul called on the Indiana Pacers. It's on Jalen Rose, who just hit a 3-point shot to put the Pacers up moments ago, and then he was countered by Philadelphia's Theo Ratliff, who hit a little shot off the block. And so that brings us to 59-58 Indiana with under 6 to play in the third. Pacers shooting 51%, Philadelphia 43%. Iverson's got 11 points. He's in the lane with a dazzling play. Oh, what a way! 13 for Iverson. Rose at the other end. Rebound by Lynch. Out to Iverson. 3-on-1. Behind the basket. Snow.
Well, Iverson's got this crowd going right now. It was a great up and under over the 7'4" Rick Smith. You got to love this guy's heart, and the Sixers right now are just playing with a lot more urgency.
Well, and he's playing through pain. That's the thing. But this guy, Chris Mullins, is accustomed to shooting the basketball also.
Oh, I love that shot right there. The crowd's going crazy, and he just calmly hits with 3 feet behind the line.
He's got 2 threes tonight, 12 for the game. And Allen Iverson puts in a 3. 16 points for Iverson.
Well, I think the little guy's warmed up that sore elbow right now.
This is like a playoff game tonight.
It is like a playoff game, and Iverson right now, like I said, they're playing with so much more energy defensively. They're undersized at every position. We'll see how long that they can play with this kind of intensity.
Iverson is all over the floor.
Well, and if you're looking at him, I mean, he's penetrating, and as Danny said, you know, he scoops under 2 big guys. He's shooting outside. He's grimacing after the shot, but he's taking the shot, and he's making it.
Ratliff was whacked by Smits, and a foul called on Rick Smits. It's number 3. Remember, Iverson playing with a broken toe, a bad rotator cuff, and a banged-up right shooting shoulder.
Well, somebody forgot to tell him that, though, didn't they?
And then he just knocked in this 3.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the sore elbow right there. Full extension, nothing but net.
16, Iverson is averaging 28 a game. One of the top scorers in the NBA. Here's Theo Ratliff at the free throw line for Philadelphia. The 76ers come in having won 4 consecutive games. 6 of their last 7, but 8 in a row at home. That's why home court, should they face Charlotte, will be so key.
It is going to be key. You know, home court, again, that deciding game is the most important game. But they got to have home court, I think, if they have a chance of beating Charlotte. I think whoever has home court will win that series.
And Philadelphia has to win tonight and tomorrow in Chicago to guarantee it. They're going inside to Smith. The smaller 6'7" George Lynch was down there combating him and draws the foul. And that for Lynch is number 3.
Well, and he can't play behind Smith. He's got to do exactly what Larry Brown said today in practice. He's got to get around him. But I tell you what, he was putting great pressure on Jalen Rose and then came back to check Smith. So Lynch was doing a heck of a job.
And there's Austin Crozier again.
And Austin just looks like he's so comfortable. I mean, that guy, he knows he's one of the best players on the court, and that's a little bit surprising, but the more we've seen him play this year, the better he's gotten.
Well, he plays, Danny, like a guy much older than somebody that's been in just a little bit of time he's been in.
Allen Iverson has been an acrobat. He's got 18 points have come here. 7 in this third quarter.
And Allen's competitive instinct surpasses his pain. And that's the thing that's so good about him, that when he gets in a competitive situation, he really thrives on that.
So does Crozier. A traveling violation called on Larry Bird's starting forward tonight, Austin Crozier. Indiana playing without Mark Jackson on the bench with a right thigh bruise, and no Reggie Miller, who's got, as they tell us, a back injury, not playing tonight.
Well, Larry's yelling at the ref saying, yeah, he traveled, but he got mugged. The guy was pushed into a travel.
Offensive foul on Philadelphia. The shove inside, it goes on Hill. He's got 2 tonight.
Right here, Crozier, he's so calm on the shot right there. Tyrone Hill goes for that steal. We talk about Philly getting a lot of steals, but just perfect rotation coming off his fingers, total concentration on the basket, and that comes from hours and hours. Nobody works harder on their game in the offseason than Austin Crozier.
3 by Mullen won't be sunk. Smith kicks it back to Chris. Screen by Smith. Mullen tries to pry his way inside. Picked up by Snow. They've got numbers 3 on 2. Into Hill. The Philadelphia fast break, Danny, is shifted into a whole other gear in the third quarter.
Well, that's the one advantage they have, is speed. Indiana has the size, and they're taking advantage of pressure defense and getting them in the open court for a lot of easy transition baskets.
Well, and there's nothing in the world like good pressure defense, getting out and running, and that's an advantage, particularly if you play that kind of game on your home court.
Timeout.
EJ in Atlanta updating the Bucks and the Magic. The last time Orlando was this close, it was 2-2. But when Darrell Armstrong just buried the jumper, the game was 73 apiece with 7 minutes and 25 seconds to go in the game. If the Bucks win, and they've taken the lead now 75-73, they're in the playoffs. If Orlando wins the game, they're still in the hunt. Their magic number would be 1. Take it, Kev.
And EJ, maybe not the dire consequences here, but Philadelphia needs to win tonight and tomorrow night in Chicago to assure themselves of home court in the first round. Indiana is already, John, the top seed in the East. They've got home court throughout as long as they're still alive.
Well, and that's true, but in the same token, you still want to play well, and they are playing well. I just think that the pressure now of the 76ers is getting to them. They're getting out and getting some break, and really the Indiana players look a little winded right now because this tempo in this arena is not what they would want to have.
Tyrone Hill hits it. He now has 10. Take a look at Chris Mullen, who has 12. Philadelphia leads at 71-64. Under 3 to play in the third. Rose to Crozier. Into Smith. Rick Smith, who's had a very erratic season, has really leveled his game and playing well tonight.
He's playing very loose tonight, and he's got a size advantage in there. Doesn't have to put the ball on the floor to allow the double teams to get there. And when they can't front him, he's going to be able to get a shot anytime he wants.
Well, especially if you're putting as much pressure on the ball as the 76ers are on the perimeter, the center's going to be wide open once the ball gets in there.
Ratliff the miss. Illegal defense is flown on Indiana. That's the second. And so that means a technical shot and possession. What are you laughing about, Dan?
Well, I got a kick out of Larry Brown. He was yelling for 3 seconds on Rick Smith's shot before. And then down here, Theo Ratliff was just standing in the lane, caught the ball in the post with 1 foot inside the lane, and I counted on myself 5 seconds. I didn't see him yelling to the refs on that one.
And let's swing it over to Todd Harris.
Kevin, on the last time out, Coach Larry Bird told his team to get back to the offensive aggressiveness that they had in the first half. And he says they're letting Philadelphia get too many easy baskets, i.e. Allen Iverson, not having him work hard enough for him. Back to you.
Approaching 2 minutes to play here in the third quarter. A 3 by Iverson. What elbow? What rotator cuff? What toe? He's either a medical miracle or he's an excruciating excruciating pain and fighting through it in a crucial game.
Both of the above.
Great rejection by Theo Ratliff.
Well, Allen was having a tougher time scoring with Jalen Rose on it, making him drive every time. It's tougher for him to create space for his jump shot. Travis Best is a much better defender off the dribble than Jalen, but that size, I think, bothers Allen.
Ratliff looked like he was playing handball. And a quick foul. And there's the aforementioned Ratliff, who picks up his first foul tonight. Played at the University of Wyoming. And the block shots even with 1:48 to play here in the third quarter.
Well, and I think the name of the game right now for the 76ers have been defense. Even though they're scoring points, they're putting a lot of pressure on Indiana at half court. They've taken away a lot of the outside shooting. As a result of it, they've gotten down and gotten a lot of layups, just like they're doing right here.
Smith picks up the foul as Lynch was off to the races. 4 fouls on Rick Smith.
Well, the 76ers right now are instigating all the physical play, and Indiana's not responding. They're just kind of trying to react, not reacting to the plays, but the physical play. They're getting all the calls, and they're getting everything good happening to them right now, all the breaks.
And that's why you want home court advantage. Because once you get in your own surroundings, the fans get involved. It helps your defense. It gives it incentive. It helps your fast break. It gives it incentive.
Philadelphia is still searching for that killer instinct, putting teams away, and they're going to try to do that tonight. And if they do it, you can be very assured that they'll do it with defense. As you see 3 players, Lynch, Snow, and Iverson, in the top 20 in steals in the NBA.
Well, they've got to do it with defense, because when you force them to run their half-court stuff, they don't have a lot of outside shooters. But when they play good defense and can get out in the break, it makes them a totally different offensive team.
They grab you by the throat, squeeze. Smiths. Mullen, Crozier was covered. Rose on top, dueling with Iverson. Crozier to Rose. Austin Crozier sets it up well.
Well, that's a great second effort by Crozier and a great pass to Rose. But, you know, the 76er defense, they're making it so much harder on the Indiana offense. They can't get the ball to the post players that they have an advantage on.
What a pass by Snow. He floods it with a great feed inside.
And what was significant with that is they got that off of their half-court set. That might have been one of the best shots that they've been able to get off of their half-court set. The rest of it has been off a fast break as a result of traps like that.
Suffocating defense by Philadelphia. Iverson and Snow were teaming up on Rose.
Well, we saw him working on this very play. He just turns and spins and throws the back door. It's a pre-called play by Larry Brown. And they're just going to take advantage of Smith, whose feet were stuck to the floor on that play.
Geiger and Kukoc come in for Ratliff and George Lynch. With 51 seconds to play, we are in the third quarter. This is, as you can see, the first free throw attempt since the first quarter, and he doesn't get it. Indiana is the #1 free throw shooting team in the NBA.
Yeah, but they just don't get to the free throw line enough.
And they don't have Reggie Miller, who's #2 in the league in shooting at the line.
Well, you need a guy like Mark Jackson, who also is a great passer and gets people a lot of layups off the cut.
We haven't seen Dale Davis in this half. Eric Snow, who played a couple years ago for Seattle, said he learned so much by listening to Nate McMillan and watching Gary Payton. That's what he says has made him the player he is now. Travis Best.
I tell you what, that 76er defense is really good now, because they're defending the outside shooters and trapping, as they did there, an opportunity.
Travis Best with the miss. Out of bounds it goes, and Philadelphia will have a little over 13 seconds with which to work as you take a look at Larry Brown, who is taking his 6th team in professional basketball to the playoffs, as he did last year with the 76ers. The only coach ever to do that. 6 different teams.
And he's got these guys playing great defense. I don't know what he told them at halftime, but this defense is spectacular.
Iverson. Rebound by Smith. Seconds will tick off. And Indiana, who at one time led by 14 points, trailing by 10 at the end of 3. Allen Iverson exploding in the third quarter with 10 points. 21 for the game, and the all-star starter from Hampton, Virginia, thriving in the city of brotherly love. At the end of 3, it's Philly by 10.
Back here in our TBS NBA Monday Atlanta studio, I'm Ernie Johnson. Let's update what's going on between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Orlando Magic, specifically the injury to Milwaukee's Ray Allen. It happened late in the third quarter. Scramble for a loose ball. Ron Mercer rolled on Ray Allen's knee. Orlando team doctors have looked at Ray Allen. They say it is a sprained knee and that he will be re-examined tomorrow in Milwaukee and will have an MRI. Obviously, he is done for the night for the Milwaukee Bucks, who are in a tight game with the Orlando Magic. Orlando never had a lead in this game until late in the fourth quarter, and they've taken 3 two-point leads in this game. Orlando, if they win, with a shot at the playoffs. Milwaukee, if they win this game, because they win the tiebreaker, would get in the playoffs. And this is a live look at TD Waterhouse Center, packed tonight to watch the Magic and the Milwaukee Bucks. It is 83-81. Milwaukee trailing Orlando. Pat Garrity with the bucket with 1:18 to go to give the Orlando Magic the lead. It is 83-81, 1:17 to go in that game. We will, of course, keep you up to speed on that, and we always have bonus coverage hanging around here, guys, in case we need that to bring you the live action. 83-81. Let's go back to Kev.
Great job, Ernie. Thank you very much. You folks have kept us so much on top of a very important game in the Eastern Conference of the NBA. Our fourth quarter is underway. Eric Snow for Philadelphia throws it away. Chris Mullin just hit a 3 to inaugurate the fourth. And the 76ers lead is cut down to 7, 78-71. Indiana shooting 50%, Sixers 48%. Rose, bullets a pass to Best, and a beauty at one.
Well, the difference is right now, the first 2 possessions, they're getting the ball to Chris Mullin. They've been fronting the low post, having a difficult time to get it in the post. Chris has made 2 beautiful passes. A very underrated aspect of the game is the post speed.
Sam Perkins in for Indiana. Tony Kukoc nails a 2-point shot. He got 3 championship rings playing with Michael Jordan in Chicago. Traded this past February, and he is thriving in Philadelphia.
Well, that's just what the doctor ordered. In order for them to run half-court sets, he's got to help him with his outside shooting because he's a great outside shooter. Most of the baskets they've gotten have been transitional baskets.
Jalen Rose. Rebound by George Lynch. He's got 5 points, making 5 rebounds and 16 points as Jalen Rose hip checks Snow, and that's the 3rd on Rose.
And that's a frustration foul right there on Rose, because he thought that Snow did the same thing to him down at the other end, and that's what he's telling the official right now.
Snow is tough. He tries to reflect his coach. Larry Brown, a one-time starting guard in the old ABA. Timeout with Philadelphia leading by 7.
Ernie Johnson in our TBS NBA Monday studio. A live look as we bring you some bonus coverage of the Orlando Magic and the Milwaukee Bucks. It was a tie game until just seconds ago. The big dog, Glenn Robinson, not having a good shooting night, but ahead of the pack there to break an 83-83 tie. The Milwaukee Bucks lead it 85-83. They are 14.8 seconds away from earning a spot in the top 8 and a playoff berth in the Eastern Conference. They are up by 2 over Orlando. You see the time there. The Magic with the ball. Let's go to bonus coverage with David Steele and Jack Givens with the call.
Shot Glenn Robinson has made tonight might be the game winner. A breakaway layup. And the Magic using one of their remaining timeouts. They have 1 full timeout and 1 20-second timeout still remaining. Tonight's Subway sub of the game. An outstanding job by Pat Garrity with 15 points. He hit a big shot on a rebound and putback. 6 rebounds for Pat. Right now this team just trying to figure out a way to at least tie this game up and perhaps send it into an extra period, or they could look for the 3-point shot with Garrity and Atkins and Armstrong all on the floor.
Well, I think what the Magic will try to do is get the ball in the hands of Chucky Atkins and see if Chucky can break the defense down and kick it out to the 3-point line. The one problem is Chucky may not get the respect of the officials if there's contact. So that's a chance you take when you give him the ball. But you're exactly right. The Magic do have options of going to the three-point line. Irvin Johnson has been a huge factor in the paint for the Milwaukee Bucks. He's done a great job of closing off the inside. And while he has only 3 blocks in this game, I say only 3, he has 3 blocks in this game, he has forced a lot of other misses. So we'll see if Chucky Atkins is able to handle the ball and if he can create and get a shot for the Magic.
The Magic just turned the ball over. Glenn Robinson hit an uncontested layup to give Milwaukee a 2-point lead. They led by 19 early. They led 24-5 early in the game. The Magic have battled back, and here we go. Garrity surrounded by Ham. Chucky for 3. Ham backs it out front with 2 seconds left. And that is the end of the basketball game. Milwaukee advances to the playoffs. The final score is 85-83 Bucks. A heartbreaker for the Magic, who scrambled back. And Chucky Atkins had a wide open look at a 3-point field goal. He's hit some big shots tonight, but could not knock down the one that probably would have spelled victory for the Orlando Magic. And Darrell Armstrong literally has to be scraped up off the floor.
Well, tell you one thing, you can't ask for a better shot. I mean, you run your play, you get the look you want. It's a shot Chucky's made a bunch of here in the 4th quarter. I mean, really all season long. You get what you want out of it. It just doesn't go down.
Well, here's the look that Chucky had. Unbelievably, Irvin Johnson gave Chucky ample room to get off a good shot.
Boy, and Ham makes a great play, doesn't he?
Yeah, just get it out of there.
You just knock it down to the other end.
Tim Thomas, our Sprint PCS player of the game. And
bonus coverage here on TBS. And with that 85-83 win, the Milwaukee Bucks are in the playoffs. They are number 8 right now. Could still move up to number 7 depending on what Detroit does. But they are in, and that's what George Karl was looking for. And 85-83. And guys, I think back to a week ago tonight, before the first of these Monday night showdowns between these two, and Milwaukee was 2 games out and looking like, boy, they're cooked. But they have come back over the last week, and now they are in there.
Well, I think that you have to say, Ernie, it's about time that this team started to play to their potential. And on that last play, Orlando came off that screen and roll, and I think they were surprised because Milwaukee switched, and they had Robinson on Atkins on the dribble, and he could not turn the corner. By going into the corner with the pass, then Robinson dropped off, which opened it up for Atkins to get a wide-open shot. But if you go back over the season, Chucky Atkins has carried this team down the stretch in many a win.
Yeah, just like Hubie said, it was a great look, great shot, the shot they wanted. But if you look at the last play, it's probably indicative of the whole Magic season. Darrell Armstrong, Chucky Atkins laying on the floor have to be picked up. They leave it on the floor.
You're exactly right. Let's go down to Craig Sager, who's been in Orlando to watch this one. Craig?
Well, I'll tell you what, it was a very exciting game. Falling behind 24-5 before that incredible comeback. And as you mentioned, Orlando actually did take the lead in that 4th quarter. But the difference was Tim Thomas. Thomas did not start the game, but he had 21 points. He also had the game winner, and he's coming here right now with us. First of all, Tim, you have Ray Allen in the locker room with an injured knee. You have Glenn Robinson struggling offensively. You took over. What did you feel you had to do?
I mean, they was doubling Glenn, they was doubling Sam, and, I just felt as though, Pat Garrity had, slow feet. Once I got the ball, I used my quickness, to get around him to get into the lane and draw fouls, and I was just making shots.
A sellout crowd, the loudest crowd they've had all year. What did Coach tell you when they took the lead?
Not much. He just told us to relax and, keep playing our style of ball, and eventually it'll turn around.
What does it mean for you guys to be in the playoffs?
I mean, it's big. I mean, all year, our fans has been getting on us back home, but, we're here now, and hopefully they come out and support us.
You got to see Ray Allen moments ago. How is he?
He's all right. I mean, I haven't talked to him. Everybody's jumping around in the locker room, but I'm going there right now to celebrate with him.
Well, congratulations, Ray Allen. We'll have an MRI tomorrow with an apparently sprained knee. Back to you, Ernie.
All right, thank you very much, Craig. Once again, the Milwaukee Bucks are in the playoffs in the Eastern Conference, and they win it 85-83 in Orlando and sweep the season series 4-0. Much more on that game on Inside the NBA. We'll take a break, and then we'll send you back to Philadelphia.
Welcome to the
back at the First Union Center in Philadelphia. Kevin Harlan, John Thompson, Danny Ainge, Todd Harris. Indiana has come back. Chris Mullin hit a 3. Travis Best hit a 2-point shot. Derek McKee also knocked in an uncovered 3-point shot. And we've got a game with the 76ers leading Indiana 82-81. You see the shooting this quarter. It's Jalen Rose working on Eric Snow. Out to Perkins. Slapped away by a very energized Iverson.
Well, one of the things I think that the 76ers got ahead with their defense, and the same thing got them behind because they continued to gamble, and then they started to leave a couple of Indiana three-point shooters open after covering them very well, and then now they find themselves in a different position.
Jalen Rose for the lead, and it's down. Indiana has come back from 10 down, much to the delight of Reggie Miller, and they lead Philadelphia 84-82.
Philadelphia's defense, like Coach said, was so dominant there in the third quarter, outscored them 32-16. But Indiana's aggressiveness on offense, like Larry Bird was preaching during the timeouts, be more aggressive, get the ball into the post, create the double teams, and they've been knocking down all the outside shots.
Inside, Snow trying to penetrate, lost the ball, out of bounds. About 6 to play in this fourth quarter.
Well, and that's the thing about pressure defense. Sometimes it comes in spurts. You've got to come off of it and just play pretty basic and cover these outside shooters. But if you're gambling and trapping, you're going to leave people open. If you consistently do it, then an experienced player like Chris Mullen will find the gap and be able to take the shot.
And I think he's been the real difference so far with his passing into the post. They were fronting, taking away the inside action. Philly was, and then when Chris Mullen became the post feeder, they had much more success.
Kukoc driving inside. Hill missed it. Again, they try and a foul. Remember now, Indiana has already claimed the top seed in the Eastern Conference. It's Philadelphia that has everything on the line. It's Philadelphia that needs to win tonight and tomorrow to get home court advantage in the first round. They are the team that is right now in the spotlight at center stage as Kukoc hits his first.
Well, I've played shooting games, ping pong, golf, everything with Larry Bird. I've never seen him want to lose anything. Right. And, you know, Chris Mullen, a great competitor. Jalen Rose, those guys all out there have been in this league a long time, and they want to win this game just as bad as any other.
Well, what was interesting, when Kukoc came in early in the game, he sparked them with his passing. But then when he was out, the defense put them in a position, the 76ers, where they could get ahead. But now I'm wondering whether they can apply pressure with Kukoc in the game the way they could with him out of the game.
Lynch is in. Ratliff is taking a seat on the Sixer bench. Travis Best. In for Mark Jackson, is injured, not playing tonight. Derek McKee hit a big 3 moments ago. Over Lynch. Oh! McKee has scored 5 crucial points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's a part of his game that he's capable of doing, but he just doesn't get a lot of opportunities. He prefers to pass. A lot of times he's just not aggressive offensively at all.
Out of bounds it goes, and Philadelphia throws it away for the tough turnover tonight.
And you see Indiana's defense now. Indiana is doing a better job of keeping them from getting the ball in the post. They're playing physical, and they're being the instigators.
But they're definitely not letting them post up. And Kukoc is not a very physical player inside. Now, I understand why he plays outside now as much as he does, because he's been stripped, and now they're pushing him out of the post.
Lynch picks up the foul, number 4, and they're going to McKee down low.
Well, they feel that's where they have the best mismatch. And if they're going to double, McKee is one of the best passers out of the double team.
Good point.
When he's got Lynch playing him, and Lynch is playing behind him in the post, he can see right over him to either score or to make the pass.
Best works it around the perimeter. It's Jalen Rose who throws it away. Good defense on the play by Lynch. Iverson driving on Best at the other end, and a foul called on Travis Best.
But they're just mugging each other down in the post right now. Derek McKee throws Tony Kukoc down. They throw it out of bounds down there. That time Jalen Rose gets mugged, and they steal the ball and get an easy transition free throws. Right here, you see Jalen Rose come for the double team. You don't really see what happens to get the ball from him, but they've been hammering him down there on the low post. Both teams are doing it, and again, the instigators usually get away with it.
Well, and one thing about the game, I think the officials have called it consistently because they've let the game be a very physical game the entire game. When Philadelphia was pressing earlier, I thought that they were making some fouls, but the referees have been very consistent with both ends of it.
Iverson has 24. He's averaging 28, the defending scoring leader from a season ago in the NBA, Allen Iverson. Rose. Sixers down by 1. Looking for McKee. Oh, he just shed the defense of Kukoc and then missed the easy basket.
That's too bad. It was a great patience by Rose. But there again, they front the post. They got away with it that time. It should have been an easy lay-in.
Aaron McKee makes a rare appearance. Tony Kukoc at the three-point strike, missing the shot. Rose coming the other way.
Well, and I'm telling you, Kukoc passes so much, and he's a great shooter, that when they need him to shoot, his rhythm and his confidence is not there the way it should be at this point of the game.
Larry Brown is furious, thinking his Sixers should have the ball. And I guess he was right. Sean Corbin came over and had a better view than Jim Clark.
Well, you like to see that happen. You know, when something like that happens and the referees have the courage enough to say that they made the wrong call, you always have to respect them for that.
I don't know why they called it. It wasn't out of bounds. It didn't hit anything behind the board. It didn't go over the backboard. It just went behind it from the side.
Eric Snow firing to Kukoc, picked up by McKee. They got the isolation. Now Perkins with some double. Snow through traffic to the hole. Tap-up try by Hill. Won't go. Snow again. The shot clock buzzer went off, but inadvertently it hit the rim. And now Hugh Evans will go over and...
Well, the Indiana bench is saying that it did not hit the rim.
I think it hit the underneath portion of the rim. To the chagrin of Larry Brown. Philadelphia has gone over 7 minutes, Danny, without a field goal. They trail by 1 right now.
Well, you know, again, I think Tony Kukoc needs to be more aggressive. He's got Derek McKee on him. I never did see the ball hit the rim. That ball looks like it goes right over the top of the basket, and they should not have reset the shot clock.
Yeah, but I'm wondering what they could talk about in the middle of the floor that made them determine whether they hit the rim or didn't hit the rim.
Remember, it was Larry Brown in Indiana that were in trouble last week in New York when a ball was guided in by Patrick Ewing on TBS NBA Monday. Iverson the miss right there. And the NBA admitted it was a mistake by Joey Crawford's crew.
I agree with Coach Thompson. This crew has been very consistent tonight. They're letting both teams play physical. The question I have is what kind of officiating is there going to be in the playoffs? How they're supposed to do it or how they're letting them do it tonight? I like this game.
I do too. It's just a great tempo to it. Foul called on Iverson, who picks up his second. And a timeout taken with under 3 minutes to play in a very important game for Iverson and the Philadelphia 76ers. They've won 8 consecutive games at home. They need to win tonight to keep that home court advantage alive.
We have 4 fouls now. Both teams are in the bonus. No second shots. You, Allen, and Eric, you guys got to get matched up with their guards. And we can put pressure up the floor. We need everybody on the board. You got McKee. We're not helping. All right? You got Sam. Is that how we're doing it?
Philadelphia has been dynamite in close games, and they're in one right now, trailing by 1. The Philadelphia 76ers led by 10 at the end of 3. So that tells you what kind of fourth quarter Indiana has had.
Well, Indiana came back out, giving them some of their own medicine. They got more aggressive defensively, and they created some problems for the 76ers as a result of it.
Perkins, Rose, Mullen, McKee, and Travis Best. Knocked away by Snow. Picked up by Iverson. Almost lost it, and then gets it back in the calm hands of Eric Snow.
Great defense by Snow right there, stripping Jalen. They're not going to try to double team. They're going to try to play Indiana head up on the block.
Now that's the kind of shot that Larry Brown wanted, right? That mid-range jump shot from Iverson. He got the shot he wanted.
That was kind of mid-range deep, though.
Yeah.
I think the thing that they responded to, Larry called for pressure. He said pressure about 4 times because he doesn't want to be posted because this Indiana team is much bigger than his team.
2.5 to play. Betts calls by Iverson, takes it inside. Picked up by Hill, back out to Iverson, setting up Philadelphia. Driving is Snow, wide open. Aaron McKee for 3. Rebound by Sam Perkins.
Well, see, that's the same thing you talked about with Kukoc, because this kid is a good shooter also, but he's not accustomed to shooting during the course of the game. And now when you want to take those shots at the end, you don't have a comfort level, nor do you have rhythm.
Perkins. Mullen for 3. Bullseye!
What a great shot.
He has a comfort level, Danny, and he has rhythm.
And Perkins even threw the ball to him late. If he'd have got it to him on time, he probably would have got a better stroke. But that is just an amazing shot.
5 3-point shots for Chris Mullen. Pacers by 4. Snow into Rose. Picked up by Ratliff. 5 to shoot. Inside it goes. And whacked away as Snow is trying to penetrate.
You think this guy is earning some minutes in the playoffs right now by his performance tonight? I know he's made a lot of these throughout his career, but he has not got a lot of playing time tonight. That's as big a one as he's hit all year.
Chris Mullen was the second best 3-point shooter in the NBA a season ago. Tonight, making his second start of the season and doing it at a great time with Reggie Miller out and Mark Jackson not playing. And Indiana now will need the services of Mullen. As we found out, they may play Milwaukee. They could play Detroit at that 8th seed. What about Indiana against Milwaukee, Danny, as you take a look at that possible matchup in the first round?
Well, they beat him 3 out of 4 in the regular season. They beat him pretty handily last year in the playoffs, and I think they'll beat him again this year.
What about Charlotte? If they would get the home court over Philadelphia, who needs to win to have the home court over possibly Charlotte?
Well, I think Charlotte is a dangerous team because they have a lot of guys who are extremely talented, and whenever the moon is out and they're playing well, you got a problem. You know, I think that Indiana is the kind of team that Danny said that these guys can shoot the ball well, and they've got a lot of people that can play too.
Iverson the miss. Corralled in the corner by Tyrone Hill. 1:19 to play. A whistle and a Derek McKee defensive move, putting Hill in a straitjacket, forces Philadelphia to call a timeout. Neither team, by the way, has a foul to give. With 1:18 to play, Indiana by 4.
The Sixers are going to feel awfully bad if this game slips away because they had it going their way. Good pressure defense getting out in the break, and now you're in a situation where they're being somewhat forced to play a half-court game as a result of not being able to stop Indiana at half-court and then being able to make 3-point shots.
Philly has 2 timeouts. Indiana has 3. Iverson to Snow and over Rose. Philadelphia has not hit a field goal in almost 10 minutes. They're 1 of 14 in this fourth quarter.
And that's what's killing them. That's how they started the game, too. They started the game shooting the ball miserably.
Especially when you force them to play a half-court game. It appears that Allen is the only one looking to shoot. Snow took that shot. Maybe he should have passed it to Kukoc, who was in his left-hand side.
McKee almost got the tap. Here comes Snow, shifting gears the other way into a thicket of Indiana defenders. Kukoc with a huge 3-point shot.
Oh, that's a huge basket right there. It was a great job. No timeout. Snow pushed it up and tried to get 2 possessions for 1. Now they can back off, try to get a stop, and get the last shot for the win.
Jalen Rose. And a foul on Philadelphia. It's on Snow, and he picks up number 4, and Larry Brown angry on the sideline.
This is an example of two veteran players knowing the game situation. Kukoc, no hesitation, knew they needed to get a quick shot up to have the last possession.
Well, Larry better be careful because he doesn't need a technical foul right now. He's in this referee's ear pretty hard.
Jalen Rose, 2 of 6 from the free throw line, hits right there, a career 73% free throw shooter. And Larry Brown is going to want a timeout after the second throw by Rose. The Philadelphia 76ers and Larry Brown led by 10 points at the end of 3. They're creeping back on the Pacers, but Indiana, the best team in the East, leading by 3 with a half minute to play.
Late clock, we got to switch everything. If there's a problem, we got to call our timeout. All right? If we don't score and you're going to foul, go for a steal. All right? Everybody understand that?
58-year-old Larry Brown, who was just signed to a contract extension by that man there in the middle, Pat Croce, who has come back himself from incredible odds in a devastating car accident. And now here in Philadelphia, 26 seconds remaining in regulation, down by 3. Rattler. Snow. Driving on Rose. Knocked away by Jalen Rose.
Well, and that's the advantage, again, of the height of the Indiana guards, that once you get that deep into the paint, if you're not going by somebody, you're going to have a lot of difficulty in going over them.
Foul called on Jalen Rose. He has number 4. And here is Snow at the free throw line, a career 69% shooter. Tonight, 2 of 3. This year, 71%.
Well, they got to have these 2 free throws. And then when Indiana inbounds the ball, they got to go for a steal, but try to foul him right away. You don't want to foul Chris Mullin. You can foul anybody else out there, but Chris Mullin, I guarantee you that. He's going to knock him down. Jalen Rose knocked down his last 2.
And I've got some idea that he's going to run towards the ball.
1-point game, 19 seconds to play. They go to Rose, the foul on Snow. It is Indiana's ball. There is no foul. It's Indiana's ball. Hugh Evans reversed his call.
Now he just pointed the wrong way. He knew who hit it out of bounds. That was the correct call.
It's Best who gets tangled up with Allen Iverson. And a foul called on Allen. He has 3, and Best will be at the free throw line.
Now the dilemma that Larry Brown has right now is he only has 1 timeout remaining. So you can go, if he makes these 2 free throws, you can go for the quick 2. Or is this team prepared enough to just take it up the court and try to score quick 2 out of transition here?
Travis Best has not taken a free throw shot tonight. Indiana 6 of 10 from the line.
Now that you're only going to be down 2 at the most right here, I think Larry Brown will take his last time out.
Kukoc comes in for Rattler. So Indiana with Perkins, McKee, Best, Mullin, and Rose. The Sixers with Iverson, Snow, Aaron McKee, Kukoc, and Tyrone Hill. Indiana leads by 2.
No timeout. He called the play from the sideline to run him 3 down.
And Philadelphia has 1 timeout left. For the tie, he goes out to Kukoc. This to tie it. Won't count. Game over. Indiana wins 92-90. And Philadelphia now has put themselves in a very tenuous position. They still have not guaranteed themselves of home court as Tyrone Hill continues to argue, and a disgusted Larry Brown tries to reel him off the floor. Philadelphia led by 10 at the end of 3. And Indiana behind the great shooting of Chris Mullin, who hit 5 3-point shots tonight. The Eastern Conference champion Indiana Pacers in the regular season win it 92-90. Final score, the Pacers 92, Philadelphia 90. The Pacers the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference, and Philadelphia will have to definitely win against Chicago tomorrow if they have any hope of home court in the first round. Our producer tonight, Mike Burks, our director, Lonnie Dale, and special thanks to Jock Gleason, David Husney, and Ars Coleman. Final score, Indiana wins it by 2, 92-90.